This is All India Radio. In the program Samvad, we now bring you a discussion on International Solar Alliance and initiatives to harness solar energy. The participants are Anil Razdan, energy expert, and journalist Shreya Jay.
We are here to talk about the big announcement that has happened today regarding Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurating Asia's largest solar power park that happens to be in India in Rewa, Madhya Pradesh, 750 megawatts. While inaugurating it, he made some very optimistic and positive statements about India's solar plans and how India plans to take up leadership position in the clean energy sector. So just to start this discussion, I wanted to understand how big the potential of such solar parks is in India, and going forward, how would Rewa set an example for India?
It is to be understood that India is one of the solar-rich countries in the world. That's why it took a lead role in the International Solar Alliance formation of the same, which was following the COP21 at Paris, when India and France decided to promote this, and recognizing the fact that 121 countries lie between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. And these happen to be largely the developing countries in the world. Now, we have roughly in this region about 300 days of sunshine a year. Of course, there are regions in India where we have a lot of rainfall, say in the northeast. But by and large, we are very well endowed with the sun. And as you know, we have had quite a global debate on climate change. Air pollution has become one of the most important subjects for global attention. Now, India and the developing countries placed in a situation, our per capita energy consumption is still quite low. But on the other hand, you see, we have to make energy reach the rural households, set up more factories, workplaces, and transportation will also increase modernization. People have to move their goods, move their produce, move around for work. But the whole effort today is that we must have energy, we must have a clean environment, and we must have equity, that is equitable distribution. Now, we are well endowed with coal resources, that is true. Most of our thermal generation today is from coal, very little from oil. And if we were to take a look at our total capacity of power, we are still quite heavily dependent on thermal. So you see, out of the total installed capacity, coal-bearing capacity is about 199 gigawatts as of end of June, and lignite 6.6, which is virtually the same as coal, so it is about 203 gigawatts there, whereas gas is 25 gigawatts. And a total thermal capacity of about 231 gigawatts. As opposed to this, the nuclear is only 6.8 gigawatts. Hydro is 45.7, though we can tap quite a lot more, but it's in very difficult regions. The renewable energy sources, they are, at the moment, you see, about 87.7 gigawatts. So out of a total capacity we have of 371 gigawatts, renewable is about 87.7. We can have renewable power across the length and breadth of the country, but the problem with solar power and wind power is that solar power doesn't work round the clock. When it doesn't work round the clock, you need storage capacity. In the long run, if we are going to do away with fossil fuels, this will mean that we not only produce solar cells, modules, we also have to produce storage batteries. Solar cell technology is evolving also. Huge research is going on in the Western countries, in the US, and in India also, with the momentum given for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Hopefully, we may start catching up. We have little time to breathe because at the moment, you see, our thermal power plants are not working to full capacity. Gas-based powers are virtually idle. These plants can keep supplying energy while we build our indigenous capacity to manufacture cells, to manufacture modules, and ultimately solar panels, what the PM was talking about today. And I think it's a huge opportunity for future generations, but we have to have dedication, we have to have cheaper funds and availability of resources, all of which are not available in India. We may have to import those things which are not available within the country, but we do have, I believe, a breathing space of about 5 to 10 years, at least, where our thermal power can provide the backbone of power availability in the country. As you would have seen in the recent COVID crisis, one sector which has not let down the country is the power sector. So, to provide a steady source of electricity from clean sources, at the same time provide employment for your own huge segment of population. So this, I think, is a problem which the PM has been trying to address. And for that very reason, he took this initiative of the India taking a lead role and be the headquarters for the International Solar Alliance. And the good thing for us is that we have a good partner like France. And the others who are essentially joining this movement are countries who are developing countries like us, with whom we can in the future share technology, share ideas. We have a common goal of taking people out of poverty and also probably do away with the conventional system of taking a transmission line everywhere, and in remote places particularly. We can install this renewable power wherever possible.
Here, I just wanted to ask, you very interestingly mentioned about the import dependence of our Indian renewable sector. The dawn of this sector, especially solar energy, happened on the back of growth of imports. So going forward, how do you envisage a situation where the domestic production can take over these imports and we could have an indigenous end-to-end solar power production in India, something that the Prime Minister himself has mentioned under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package?
So first and foremost, besides providing the technology, we will have to provide capital at very concessional and affordable rate for industry to be encouraged and set up. So I'm talking about solar power. At the same time, I keep repeating, we should not forget our wind power capacity. We must have cheaper electricity for these units, which are manufacturing. The electric tariff in the country is currently distorted because we are making some segments of the economy subsidize the other segments of the economy as far as the electricity tariff is concerned. Now, in most developed countries in the world, this is not the case. Yes, there are segments of economy which need to be subsidized or supported, but that must come through state subsidy and state support directly and through promotion of energy efficiency in a very big way. The LEDs has been a very positive step so that people, particularly in the lower income groups, consume as little power as they want to. So manufacturing, cheaper capital, cheaper inputs, big time government investments in the key sectors involved in the fabrication of solar modules, cells and panels, almost on the same priority, I would say, as the defense industry, should be the agenda for the nation. But each segment, mind you, when we talk of Make in India, each segment will have to have its own separate roadmap specific to that sector, and it is not going to happen in 2 years, 3 years or 5 years. As I look at it, it may take 10 years. But luckily, as I said, we have alternate sources of power generation in the country and through indigenous manufacture. We have the coal. We can go for cleaner coal. We can abate some of the pollution there, but if we have to attain self-sufficiency, we will have to follow that graduated path.
As we all know, power sector in India follows a federalist structure, wherein the distribution lies in the hands of the state. That has also led to certain problems in the renewable energy sector, where we have seen several states reneging on their contracts of renewable energy projects, had shelved projects because they were costly. So, how do you think, going forward, center and states can coordinate well and help in the development of renewable energy sector in the country?
See, you have raised a very important issue because electric power is a concurrent subject in India. And we used to have a lot of renewable power in the name of hydropower in the country. But owing to some environmental issues, hydropower slowed down and thermal power took its place. we will have to make thermal power support for a while, but the government of India has taken the right initiative in advocating a new tariff policy. The administration of the power sector has moved into the hands of the Electricity Regulatory Commission, that is the electricity regulator. In my view, while this institution has come up, it has not discharged its due responsibility in setting tariffs which do not involve cross-subsidy and also the quality of power. The penalty which must go to a supplier for not supplying regular power to a consumer, that has to be imposed. And as I mentioned, it's not only a federal subject, it's a concurrent subject. It will call for a national debate and awakening in respect of this problem. States cannot create situations where it will not be possible for clean power to come up, because they must understand that the environment is there to stay for generations and health is as important as wealth. The recent COVID crisis will hopefully have dinned that dictum into the minds of people. We must act in a far-sighted manner and ensure that electricity tariffs are set in a way that it is equitable and fair for all. And if some segments of society need support, they have to be given support directly by the state.
Regarding private participation, private companies have been pretty active in the renewable energy sector, be it wind, wherein there have been domestic turbine manufacturers, or solar power, where we have seen a very excited response by private companies. But financing has been a major challenge, especially availability of low-cost domestic finance. How do you think the government can intervene in this matter and assist private companies accessing such low-cost finance?
See, as I mentioned, it has to be a policy of lending, and that has to come from the Reserve Bank of India. Which are your priority sectors for lending which need the minimal rates of interest? I remember when I was a young officer having joined the Indian Administrative Service, there were special programs for the weaker sections, the Small Farmers Development Program, the Marginal Farmers Program, and these programs had a huge interest subvention, and they were giving out loans at very low rates of interest, maybe 4 to 5%, whereas the other interest rate was very high. We will have to identify those sectors where we need to provide such low rates of interest, because those are the rates of interest that are prevailing worldwide. We will have to be very rigorous in setting those standards, but the priorities will have to be laid down. Do we need to promote that kind of industry? I list out which protects the environment, which generates employment, which consumes less water, because water is going to be a major problem in the future, and which promotes research and development. We need new projects, new technologies to compete with the best. And R&D is a sector, it's a very raw nerve in our country. Our expenditure on research and development as a percentage of our GDP has almost been constant. And a major portion of that expenditure comes from government agencies. This has to permeate to the private sector as we are going heavily into private industry, entrepreneurship. And it has to be genuine research. New technologies have to come, they have to be respected, and I would say in commercial undertakings, the R&D has to be recognized as a profit center.
Absolutely right, sir. And I really hope in a post-COVID world, companies, policymakers, and governments across the world make conscious clean energy choices. And I hope that International Solar Alliance is a lighthouse in that matter. And I really hope that India produces more and more such Rewa solar parks in the future. Thank you so much for talking with us. It was surely an enlightening conversation. Thank you for your insights and your views.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion on International Solar Alliance and initiatives to harness solar energy. The participants were Anil Razdan, energy expert, and journalist Shreya Jay. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.